Welcome back to Latin. We like chapter 29. We're continuing with the subjunctive. Today we'll learn how to make the subjunctive mood in the imperfect tense. Fortunately, it's very easy to recognize imperfects in the subjunctive because all the imperfects are simply the form of the infinitive, the present infinitive, plus the personal endings. So for the active personal endings, that's st, mus, tis, und. And the passive personal endings are ris, tur, more, many, intur. So the imperfect subjunctive active first person singular is laudarem. Laudare, the present infinitive, to praise, plus m. So to make second person, it'd be laudaris. Third person, laudaret, and so forth. Likewise for the passive. You take laudare, and then you add r, ris, tur, more, many, intur. So very easy to form, very easy to recognize. So here again is amo in the subjunctive, in the active subjunctive. And so the present tense is what we learned in last lesson. Present tense from chapter 28. This is the one where we had we fear a liar, and each of the different conjugations used a different vowel. In the imperfect, it's much easier. You're simply taking the entire present infinitive, amare, and then you're adding the personal endings. So, amarem, amares, amaret, amaremus, amaretus, amarent, and then in the passive voice, down here, we add r, ris, tur, more, many, intur, and so we have amarer, amareris, amaretur, amaremur, amaremini, amarentur. So, second conjugation likewise. You just take the second conjugation infinitive and add the personal endings either for the active or the passive. Third conjugation, ducere, plus m, s, t, and so forth. Third conjugation, I stem, and then fourth conjugation, audirem, audires, audiret. So very straightforward, and you can see examples of those forms on page 236. So easy enough to learn the imperfect tense in the subjunctive. Now we got a couple of irregular verbs. The irregular verb to be in the present subjunctive, this is on page 237. So this is one you'll want to make a flashcard of. Sim, sis, sit, simus, situs, sint. That I may be, that you may be, that he may be, that we may be, that y'all may be, that they may be. And then the imperfect for to be is formed just like the others. You take the present infinitive of to be, which is essa, and then you add the endings. The irregular verb to be able, to make it present subjunctive, note that, present subjunctive, you just add pos onto the, so possum is that I may be able, possus that you may be able, and so forth. So it's the same form as to be, just with pos added on to the beginning of it. And then the imperfect, again, is normal. You take the present infinitive, possa, and you add the endings, just like any other imperfect subjunctive. So the imperfect subjunctive is very easy to identify. What made the present subjunctive difficult to identify was that, one ending, like, for example, you look at an ending like amet. You have to know that that's from amare, which is to know that e is a first conjugation subjunctive rather than third conjugation future. But now in the imperfect, everything's easy to, because they all have those forms with the infinitive plus the ending. So very easy to recognize. Uses of the subjunctive in the imperfect tense in purpose clauses following a main clause with a past tense verb. So take a look at this. Hoc dixit, or dicebat. So dixit is perfect tense, which is a past tense. Decaybat is the imperfect tense, which again is a past tense, talking about past time. So since my main verb is in the past tense, then I have ut for my purpose clause. Then my subjunctive is going to be in the imperfect. So when my main verb is past tense, after the ut clause, I'm going to have the imperfect subjunctive, and it's translated with might instead of may. He said, or he was saying this, in order that he might help them. In the present tense, we use may. So it's hoc dicit ut eos uit. He is saying this in order that he may help them. Again, these are distinctions that we don't make too much in English anymore, so that they might not sound a lot different to you, but we actually do make them in the most proper, written English should be written this way. So the imperfect subjunctive follows past tense main verbs. So, and then the last bit of the chapter, you can read about purpose clauses versus result clauses. Both of these are ut clauses. So the real question is, how do you translate the word ut? Should it, in any given case, should it be in order that, or should it be translated with the result that? Is it a purpose clause answering the question, why was this done, in order that such and such? Or is it answering what was the outcome of the action, with the result that? They can be tricky to tell apart. Well, one way you can tell them apart is by looking for an adverb or an adjective denoting degree. And so tanta fecit means he did so much, he did so many things, ut urbem servarit, that he saved the city, with the result that he saved the city. As opposed to haec fecit, he did these things in order that he might save the city, as opposed to with the result that he saved the city. It's nothing to get yourself too tied up in knots about. The translation work that we're doing in this class is not going to be that finely honed. You could just translate ut with that, and then you cover your bases, whether it's a result clause or a purpose clause. But since Wheelock did mention it, we'll go over it there. Here are the translations that you need to work on now for chapter 29, numbers 1 and 9. So work on those and then watch the other video to get the corrections, and then you should be ready for the upcoming quiz.